up? It's episode 53. We are talking about being glad and grateful here on the Voice Behind the Voice podcast. This week we are talking about showing up for yourself. This is the Show Up series. Part 1 was on Friday, and this is part 2. Part 1 was about getting to the starting line. Power Push, the last series, was about getting to the starting line. And part 1, goodness gracious, I need to slow down. Okay. Part 1 was about that, taking that first step. And part 2, we are talking about your form and your stride. All right? We want to be glad and we want to be grateful. So grateful is how we are going to be, our form, our attitude. We're going to be grateful for everything that we have. We're not going to focus on what we do not have. And our stride, we're going to be glad. We're going to make sure that we keep going. We keep gladness. Our heart is just always glad. There are going to be times where you mess up a little bit, right? And we talked about seeing the obstacles, and you're already I'm gonna slow down, I promise. Okay, so see, if I don't slow down, everything just goes a mess. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to slowing down. I'm just so excited about this. Okay, so now we got to the starting line. Okay, so we got to the starting line, and I was talking about how you're gonna act when you get to the hurdles. So we already know that when those mistakes come, we're not going to stop, and we're not going to apologize for stepping over them or jumping over them. We're not going to flying. They be looking like they flying over them. We're not going to apologize for flying over them. We're not going to stop and think about everything that we could have done wrong. We could have done better, everything that we did wrong. We're not going to dwell on the negative. So we already know that when we get to these hurdles, no matter how we do on each hurdle, we're going to make sure that the next one is better. And we're going to be glad about it. We're not going to be thinking of, we don't have to stop in the race and think about how we're going to do it differently. We're just going to keep going. I like how people say, fail forward and fail fast. Just get the failures over with so you can get to your success, okay? So I do have I in this series, I'm making sure that I connect to parts of the whole self protocol system. So today we're connecting to value, and I want to remind you to value joy. Like I said, there's always going to be a little bit of Jesus, because that's how I live. I can't live without him, so I can't talk without him. And like I said, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're still welcome. But disclaimer, not apology, but disclaimer, Jesus is going to be talked about. So the Bible says that the joy of the Lord is your strength. The Bible also says, count it all joy. So when you already know that you already know these obstacles are coming, and you already know that there are going to be times, you ever leave the house, like you're going on a trip, and you're like, dang, I know I'm forgetting something, but you don't realize what you forgot until you forgot it. And then eventually you realize you didn't really need it. And I want to say I'm using that to say count it all joy, because a lot of times, and we're in the race, and you think about something that you could have done better, and you think about you just think about something that you couldn't have done better, and sometimes that throws you off. But I want to remind you that you may not have needed that. If you don't have it right now, don't focus on not having it. Focus on what you do have and how you can improvise if you have to. Focus on how you can get along without it. So I'm a firm believer in doing what you can with what you have. That is my motto. I've been saying it forever. Do what you can. Anybody who I've ever heard talk about, like, I want to do this, but I can't do this, but do what you can do. In the last episode, I said in the last episode, I talked about how you you want to do this one thing and you're limited, but you have other things that you can do to make that thing a reality, to take the limits off. You could take a break from that and go do what you have to do over here so that it opens up for this. And you never know um, how wonderful doing these things over here can make you, like how much you can grow by doing these over things over here. So we were talking about money, and so I don't have enough money to do this, so I'm going to go over here and make the money. Now when I come back over here, not only do I have the money, but I also am mentally prepared, I'm physically prepared, I'm spiritually prepared to do that and to do it right. So now I'm not wasting the money either, because being over here and doing this taught me this. So count it all joy when you have to say, you know what, I don't have money for that. But you know what, I can do this. And this is not only going to give me the money, it's going to give me so much more. So there's a lot of wonder in not being ready for this, because now you can go over here and you can really get ready. And what God has for you, it's for you. Okay? It's just for you. So while you're getting ready for it, God's not like, I'm gonna give that to somebody else. He's actually, it's for you. Like when you're ready for it, it's gonna be ready for you. Like you don't have to be stressed out about missing an opportunity. And that's one weakness of mine, is that I'm like, I gotta do this now before somebody else does it, and then when I finally do it, I'm gonna be looking like I took their idea, and I'm really bad with that. So trust me, in all these episodes, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me. Look, I'm looking at myself in this screen. I am talking to myself, but I am hoping that this also touches and encourages someone else. So we I have like 50 joy scriptures in my head. I was about to say, restore the joy of our salvation. Okay, so count it all joy when things happen that aren't necessarily the way you want. They're not happening the way you want them to, because it's preparing you for what you are actually going to be going through. So every hurdle is preparing you for the next. Don't focus on the bad. We talked about that. Okay, so like I said, um, every hurdle is preparing you for the next. And if you think too much about that first hurdle, like I mentioned in the last series that I mentioned on Wednesday, that excuse me, that when you hit that hurdle, but your toe touched it just a little bit, like you just grazed it. Like, don't stop and think about, like, oh my gosh, my toe touched it, right? No, like, you're gonna be stuck there if you do that, and everybody else is just running and jumping and running and jumping, and you're just last place. And of course, this is a race where you're by yourself in this race, but I want you to see it as um, the longer you sit and think about this hurdle and how you messed up just a little bit, like, failure is gonna happen. If you stop and you focus on the failure, it's like your finish line is getting farther and farther away. So don't, like, learn from it, but do it in stride. Okay, oh gosh, I messed up. Okay, thank you, Lord, for that little mistake. I'm gonna do better this time, and I'm gonna jump higher this time. And you know what I mean? And do it with gladness. I'll be like, you know what I mean? Like, do it with gladness. Okay, accept failure, learn from it, move on. All right, so so show up. Make sure that you are showing up for yourself. Run the race. You're at the starting line. Now all you have to do is run. Just go um and jump over the hurdles like it's nothing. And if you happen to graze the hurdle just a little bit, don't stop and think about that. Like, keep running and do better and do better and do better. I am so excited because I am this all of this is me practicing what I'm basically preaching in these episodes. So make sure that you are valuing your peace. Make sure that you are valuing the joy that is inside of you, because you You need it. You're gonna need it to make it to the finish line. You're gonna need to have that joy, that gladness, and you're gonna need to be grateful. Be grateful, because thinking about what you don't have and thinking about how you messed up and all the things people told you weren't going to be able to do throughout your whole life, you are not going to make it. Okay? You're not going to make it. So we talked about acknowledging your potential and taking the not using your limitations as excuses. And this episode is about valuing your the joy and the peace, and not focusing on failure, but focusing on the things that you have and the things that you can work with, because like I said, the success of your dreams is waiting for you. Okay? And you are gonna have a good attitude in order to make it there. All right? So go ahead and subscribe. Check out the rest of the Voice Behind the Voice podcast. Forgive me for the beginning, but look, it turned out like this, and I'm excited. So, prayerful dynamic podcast. I'm praying, and and I love it. I love to pray. I love the word. I love Jesus. But I gotta go. All right. Thank ya.